Dare I say I'm the greatest man alive? Who knows? Rockstar DJ. Who truly knows in the mindset of the greatest man, huh? Sometimes your confidence can be disguised as arrogance based off the things that you say for yourself. Mm. So, what's it to you? My greatest man. How are you feeling today? Feeling great. That's wonderful. All right. A couple of things we want to talk about, right? We can keep it nice and short and simple because I don't want to be sporadic. Because once you're sporadic and you start talking crazy, they tend to just discard the things you say. They paint you as insane. So, with this, I'm gonna try to talk. Calm yourself. As I said, my mind is ageless, but my body has an age, right? So, don't try to discard my information, the things I say, just because based on how I look, talk, or my age. So, with that in mind, welcome, newcomers. Great to finally have some new people here. So let's break some things down. Okay, so was it is it five now or four? Okay, it's five things you can be. You can be a fan, a supporter, a follower, a viewer. What's the fifth one? I'm pretty sure. Dang, I forgot the fifth one. So it's fan, follower, supporter, fan, follower, supporter, viewer, and subscriber. There you go. With those five, we'll break it down in another video. But right now, we're gonna want to cut the business. We're being very cutthroat today, right? It's crazy. Um, Honestly, right? We're only doing YouTube because I gotta get my name out somewhere, right? So we're gonna do music. Obviously, music isn't out yet. We're getting to it. I want to find a genre that's not really used that much because the rap game and artistry is very oversaturated. So with that, you know, I want something eye catching, but also that sounds good. You know, I might bring some classic back, like some funk. Who knows? But with that in mind, I am trying to find a occupation that is closer to this resident, so I can create more videos for you and myself, basically. But with that in mind, we usually talk about mental health, mental illness, and just how to be a human all around. Because sometimes we get normal and natural confused. Bam. So other things else, we won't be getting anything deep until my name is fully known. I won't be trying to overthrow anything or so-called change of view of a mass audience without having some type of leeway in that matter. So what do I mean by that? I am unknown, correct? Yes, I'm very unknown. That is fine. I understand that, newcomer. But the reason why it seems like I've been here for longer because I already have my vision. And what is my vision exactly? Not so-called world peace, because world peace is impossible because we all have different minds. Now, world understanding is way different. If you can see that, right? It's a blissful view in the world, all right? We all know there is negativity in the world, war, famine, disease, right? But sometimes that gets overthrown or passed aside mainly because we don't have to deal with that. And I understand nobody wants to be a virtue signal or try to be a peacemaker or a pick me and be like, we have to do this. You're telling me to do this, but have you done anything? Or just telling me. I understand that. That's not the case. That won't be me. But with that in mind, yes. As you can see, I'm running everything off of headphones and a phone. That is fine. But if you have a great mind, I don't say I have one, but I feel like I have the way to distribute these type of verbiage and a way to speak to you to understand that, yes, we all believe the same, but we all think differently, right? Some people might be put on the pedestal because of their accolades or the things they've done over the years. That's why I say I want longevity more than fame, right? Yeah, I might want the fame, the cash, and gold, but I got something else. I want longevity, and longevity can keep me farther than anything else, right? Everybody's trying to chase that 10 seconds of fame or that 10 minutes of fame. I want 10 millennials of fame. I want to edge my name into the stone of the world. Even if humans only have, I feel like humanity only has like, if that 500 years, the way we're going, right? But if I think because like I tend to talk about things that are so-called unrealistic into the minds of others, but I try to put it in a realistic tone so you can grasp what I'm trying to say. So that's why the things that I talk about might sound crazy, but when I say it in a way that you can understand, it doesn't sound so feasible, right? Um, right, bam. So if you technically want world peace, right? This is the way it's gonna have to do it, right? You have to cut out everything that is indifferent, make everything so-called minimalistic, unbrandy, less artistry, less creativity, and create a one so-called human being with all ethnicities and races. So that will contain every race, every ethnicity, every language, and mesh that into one to cause so-called create unity. But nobody wants that, right? If you create unity, but in a not in a dictatorship type of way, but in a powerful way where one man or one being is in control while we all look at the same and spew the same sounds to recognize as words and verbiage, are we truly humans? Is that not just a glorified way to be a robot? Synthetic tissue that's wrapped around the skin. I know it sounds crazy, so we won't go on no tangent, no poets, because I have books I'm writing and music, but we're not gonna touch on that. We might touch on bases here and there, but here, listen. One video was a 7-minute video. One I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make an insurance firm that it was public, because most insurance firms are private and made by billion-dollar companies. Now, when I said that, I was scared to say that because I thought I was gonna get killed. I don't even know why. Nobody knows me, but I thought I was gonna get killed. You know, mainly because once you start to make an indifference in the world, or you tend to speak about something that can change the world in a positive light, you get killed coincidentally or purposely. So, with that in mind, either way, you're gonna get killed by something that's indirectly your fault or something directly that's your fault, right? The things that you're saying has got somebody mad enough to kill you, or just your popularity alone, your fame, and knowing that you have liquid financing that they could rob you and then you get killed, right? Either way, you get killed in some type of way, even with security. So I feel like the greatest minds of the world should have security or just don't go on public, which I don't do. I don't go on public. Not because I think I'm better than somebody or I'm important or I'm a main character. No, no. I just don't like to talk to people. But I have to change that if I want to make dough to, spread my word even more. Because what do I look like sitting in a building, working out, reading, writing, and making music, but everybody hates my art? I feel like everybody hates my artistry. Everybody hates my music. And I barely post any music. It's coming out. I feel like everybody hates the words I say. So when people recognize me on the street due to otherworldly things or things I did in the past, I kind of hate that because it's not me. You know, if you're stuck on this one thing, I wouldn't say you peaked in that certain area, but it feels like you're embellishing things that you don't even do anymore. Like if you were known for being a world time champ 40 years ago and you're still talking about it, that is okay. But if you're using that to get around, that's like it's like peaking in high school. You don't have to be the popularest person to peak in high school. You can be like a loner, but still be known, and that's all you talk about is high school. Like, peaking in high school, peaking in college, it doesn't matter. But what's the so-called peaking, right? Oh, you hit this monumental stature and then you fall off it, or you only talk about it. Peaking for me, it's holding on something that is not really grabbable anymore. It's not a physical thing you can hold. It's only he say she say. Now with this, right? This is two ways it's gonna go, right? It's either I fix the country or I leave the country, right? But I won't try to press my beliefs or ideologies on anybody. Be like, listen to me, this is gonna happen. Listen, I have studied, right? I've seen some of the greatest minds when they tell you something's gonna happen, the world tends to hide it or push it along until it's doomsday, right? And you got them crazy people on the street. They'll be like, the world's gonna end in 2012. Oh, the world's gonna end in 2021. We got the numbers wrong. No, the world has already ended. you must get that straight. We're not living in a simulation or anything, but the world has already ended to the point that we have seen, right? It's not no conspiracy. It's not, oh, the world has ended, so we're under end times. No, they have not hypnotized us, but put an illusion over our eyes to deceive us to say that the world is still falling. No, let me put it in this type of way, right? You live in a world, right? There are disagreements here and there, positivity everywhere, understanding everywhere. You know, there's no pain to the point where it causes mental anguish, right? Only physical pain. But then there's a world that has a front view, seems positive, no disagreements, no pain at all. But in the outskirts, there's death, murder, pollution, famine, rapes, trafficking, all the whole nine, right? Now, what world would you want to live in? Some people will say that one, some people will say this one. Now, okay, now those two worlds still exist, coexist, right? Now imagine, right? I snap your mind. You have no idea what's happening on the outbellies of both of these worlds, right? But you only see what is told to you. Therefore, your mind might gravitate towards the world that seems more delightful, even though the outskirts are straight atrocities across the realms. Now, what I'm saying is, mainly the fact is, we don't live in a world, we are trapped in a world. Now, some people may live, some people might die, right? I'd rather die for my people than to be a slave. Now, with that in mind, how can I complain where I am blessed with these clothes, these cloths, this phone? Shoot, my freedom. Shoot, how am I being impatient? Am I being overzealous? Am I being ungrateful that the things that they have prospered me, I may prosper and bask in the glory that I have, these clothes that's outside, the beautiful nature without being a so-called a slave physically. But maybe I am being too much, right? Because sometimes you'd be like, oh, stop virtuous and you're doing too much. You always want to be a victim. No one says I want to be a victim. I want to be a great mind, right? Not a dictatorship. But even with a lead, just tend to get on the throne. You can have the most greatest king in the world, but there still be atrocities around him. You can't fix everything. There's no such thing as being a god. You may claim to be a god in your mental state, but do you have the control, the way to speak to the masses in a way they will listen to you without screaming? No. You are no god. You are no messiah. Um, you are only a man with power that deludes your mind and pollutes it. No. This is a serious topic, right? Okay, so listen. I want to fix the world. I want to fix the world really bad. Who doesn't, right? You know, I used to want to be a football player, and you know, oh, yeah. I wanted to stay in the realms of just being a regular person, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, you may be superhuman in the physical aspect, but is your mind still the same? Right? So, I used to be just like this, but I would never show anybody. I used to just write it down, put it in notes, do all this, right? Jot it down. I was scared to be judged. But now, it's either you're gonna look like a know-it-all or you're gonna know it all. And the more you know that you know nothing. You know that you know nothing. If you know more, you know that you know less. Now, the less you know, the more you think you know. So as I gain more knowledge, I see that I know nothing. There's so much mass knowledge around the world that I feel like it's a fool's game. It's like fool's gold, you know? Collectively. Alright? I can start a hashtag, a movement, and it might last maybe a couple months, even a year maybe. And then the world will go back to which it was. So how do we do a permanent change? As I said, nothing is permanent, only semi. Right? Even a tattoo is only semi. You can still get it removed. It still fades over time. Semi-permanent. Pain that we all hold. Now, there's some things that I truly do not say over the internet because I know I will be seen as crazy or just another man trying to get his way of the world. So I will keep that in the back of my mind until the world is ready or until the masses have heard me. Or I am a recognizable face, that I am a recognizable figure to the point where people will come up to me and ask me, what's the quote of the day, or how you doing, or people don't care who you are until you do something monumental. Nobody cared about who I was until I became the so-called character. You know, you can speak so many, but still understand her, right? And even how I'm talking right now, I would still be put in a category of, oh, he's just a philosopher. He just yaps. Oh, he just says this and he doesn't do. You always will get that. So either you're gonna fall off the horse or you're gonna get right back on it. Either way, you're gonna get injured. So you might as well figure it out. Don't soak in your pain. Glorify it. Then get back on. Anyway, it's great, right? We got over 100 subscribers now. So that might seem small to the rest of the world, but to me, you know what I could do with 100 people? Yeah. Can't say too much. They might be listening. Let me start with a paranoia. As a kid, I used to think that I used to think I was gonna get murdered. The way I used to think, right? I used to be in my head, right? I used to be very paranoid. I tell y'all a lot. I can't sleep. I got insomnia to some degree, right? But I figured it out. I just gotta shut down my body manually by just making the room extremely cold to the point where you can see your breath. I know it's a crazy way to think. But even with this, I feel like my words will be taken out of context or used against me if I died or was so-called killed, right? Don't want to jinx it though. But I want to still live a long and lovely life, We're not always going to be deep and be like, why are we here? Are we just a sack of flesh just roaming the earth until we kick the bucket? That is a morbid way to think. Life has no meaning, and that's the greatest thing about it. You can make a meaning. If life had a meaning, then you would do everything in your power to have a different one. Now, yes, I want to take over the country, not a dictatorship, but I want to make it peaceful, right? But even with that, we're gonna have some unrealistic tendencies like, oh, we should have no guns. Oh, we should do this. Oh, we should do that. Oh, we should do this. Even if it's perfect, something can be too perfect to the point where somebody, even myself, might want to destroy it because it's too perfect. It's too bland. So you might have to drizzle a little bit of negativity just to keep the mind sane. Because if something is constantly the same to the point where you know what's next, the boredom will make you escape your mind, right? To the point where you'll be like, oh, there's something has to be wrong. And even if there's nothing wrong, they will find a way to make it wrong, So, you can't have something too perfect. That's why there's no such thing as a perfect human. It might display perfect physically, but mentally, may not be perfect. One side might be asymmetrical or something. One side might be uneven. But who am I to talk? I have no leeway in that manner. So with that in mind, we will try to not have a congruent standpoint of what is right and what is wrong. We're trying to figure out what to say, because I don't want to just be a streamer or a YouTuber that just, oh, he talks about the world's upbringing and how it's this, that, and the third, and how you can change it, but he does nothing on it. Yeah. Cause what's all it's about spreading awareness, but doing not jack shit about it. Excuse my language, but we know this is a I guess a so-called channel that is for up in age, But who am I to restrict you because of your age? That's why I say it, But if you're mature enough, then yeah. Who am I to say that, We have so many problems that one problem can be fixed, but that might cause another problem to be made, right? Straight bullshit. I won't drag it along anyway, because my words will maybe get loosely put into whatever he's talking about, So I'll try to keep it short as possible, even though it's killing me to stop at this point, right? So it's almost heading 20 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna stop directly at 20 minutes, mainly because if I could go on for another hour, but then it might be classified as rambling because I'm talking too long, right? Not each word I say will be taken to a point of seriousness because the video's too long. Our attention spans are small, so try to keep it short as possible. Anyway, it was lovely to talk to you again. And as you can see, there's a different personality or a different person on the camera, even though appearance-wise the same. But that's the perks of being a human. You can fluctuate emotions without being crazy. So with that in mind, thank you for listening. And here we are on the way to win the world. So you have a blessed day.